Good Day Valley Church. It's such a privilege to be able to share with you the midweek devotion again. I'm here on one of my favorite spots on Apostle Battery. If you hear, you might be able to hear the little stream in the back. It's been raining, and it's always nice this time of the year to have a little stream. Sometimes we've got a waterfall even. And on my side here, I just need to show you, we got some chickens. We've got 8 hens, and just proud to say that we've been getting our own eggs the last few days. So they finally started to give us some eggs, so that's exciting. The reason I'm here is number one, it's got better light than in my office, but more than that, I think when I'm here, I have a sense of peace. And a few times I found myself just sitting and looking at the chickens, and just being, just got this calming effect on me. Today's theme is about Unhurried, and I'm going to be sharing some of the things God has been challenging us as a family and us as an organization with over the last few months. Actually, the last year, but the last few months it's kind of been emphasized during this whole lockdown time. Lockdown has been hard for all of us. And the previous devotion I shared about, Paul's words of rejoicing and suffering, and how when we hear rejoice and suffering, it doesn't always make sense. But as followers of Jesus, we've got this advantage to know through faith that God is in control and He loves us, He knows what is best, and therefore we can rejoice in all times, because we know that He's got a purpose, and even in hard times there is a purpose, and He's teaching us things. There are little gems hidden in the soil of difficult times, but it's our job to dig and to find it. I've been reading News 24, and I read a few headlines the last few days of just this idea of lessons learned during lockdown. 10 lessons learned in lockdown, not forget the lessons. And it's funny how, this is a secular newspaper, but I think even in that we can learn, and how much more as followers of Jesus we should look at this time and really see what we can learn, how we can grow, how we can just use these gems, so to speak. Also maybe some wake-up calls that God has been wanting to give, and to really heed those. So there's a cool quote by a guy called Trevor Hudson. He said, it's not experience, but evaluated experience that brings growth. And so may we look at this time and really take hold of those lessons, take hold of those gems and apply them. My fear is that after this time, when we go back to normal, whatever that might mean, because we know it won't be normal, the illusion of normal, that we would just try and go back and want everything the way we used to do it. And one of the things I'm really scared about in my own life, and for us as followers of Jesus, is just to again fall back into that hurried pace of just rat race and trying to do 10,000 things at one time, and overcrowding our schedules. So, Unhurried. There are a few books that I'm going to share about that I've been reading, and first of all the Bible, which is the most important one, specifically just the Gospels and on the life of Jesus that we've been studying in a chronological way, which has been quite amazing. But secondly, there's this book, I'm sure many of you have heard of, the Emotional Healthy spirituality. Now, this is their day by day. It's a 40-day. They call it day by day. It's based on sort of a daily office readings that you can do every day. That has really, really been incredible. And then the other one, which I'm going to be talking a lot about, and they did not pay me to try and sell this book. This is not a advertisement for this book, but really one I would recommend. It's by John Mark Comer. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I heard about this book at the end of last year, and I have the privilege every year of joining a group of leaders from all over the world for a week-long summit, leadership summit. We're gathering in Atlanta every year. And the whole topic or the theme this year was on the ruthless elimination of hurry. Because I think as leaders, whether you are in the workplace, marketplace, or ministry, we tend to struggle with slowing down and taking a breath and taking things easy. We tend to overcommit ourselves. And when we got back from the States, from that summit, that's when lockdown started. I literally came back a week before lockdown started, so I had to get tested and all of those things. But just corresponding with some of the leaders that came to the summit, they just said this is the most incredible thing that happened to us, that we got this book, just before we all went into lockdown, because we were forced to stop. And what a better book, there's no better book to read, well, apart from the Bible, during this time than this book. So I'm going to be referring a lot to this book, and I hope that you will also pick up a copy of that. So just on this the title of this book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, John Mark Comer he's a pastor, and he just found himself in a time of burnout, just overwhelmed with just the busyness and the rat race of just American life. And his mentor, John Ortberg, I'm sure many of you have heard about John. When Mark Comer asked him, how do I just become the best me? And then he said, you need to ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And in his book, Mark Comer uses this image of a fish in water, just saying that, fish doesn't realize he's in water. But when you take him out, then obviously he will gasp and he will eventually die. But a fish doesn't think he's in water. Just like when I'm breathing and when I'm here, I'm not always aware. I'm actually, I need to stop and sit and realize that I'm actually breathing. And so he's referring to the water that the fish finds himself in as our culture of hurry and hustle, that we don't realize we're in it, because it's the way things are. It's the way society operates. This resonated with me when I read it, because it made me think of our time in the Transkei. A few years ago, before we got Kenya, we were living in a little village in the Eastern Cape, and there things are moving a lot slower. And many times this frustrated me, because you wanna move, you wanna get things done, but after a while, I just realized that I'm a better person. I can breathe. I've got time for people. I love who I'm becoming. And when we got back in Cape Town, I remember we drove through the city of Cape Town, coming over the mountain, and it was like a ton of bricks just hitting us in the face. That, oh my goodness, we're back. We're back in this water, so to speak, of hurry and hustle and just rat race. And Minyo and I just told ourselves we need to make sure we don't fall into it. Well, it didn't take us long to eventually fall back into that place of being overcommitted, not having any margin, being tired, being, itchy with people, and we were back in the water. Now, I know I've blamed it, and many people will blame it on just that's the way it is. I can't get out of it. Otherwise I can't operate, because that's the system. We blame it on that. But I know for me it was a thing of discipline and priorities, and not being strong enough to say no, and to be proactive, and to plan, and to lead my own life. And so, I think you might already agree with me that even lockdown, in a way, we've been out of water, we've been out of the normal, and many of us have been forced to stop. I know for me, the temptation was just to get busy again and jump on the bandwagon of Zoom conferences because everyone is doing it. And if I want to, continue making a difference, I need to innovate. And yes, that's true. But if I really need to be honest with you, a lot of it was just that pressure of needing to please people, or needing to stay busy just to stay busy. And really getting chickens, making that time to really breathe, to see this time as also a gift to reevaluate, to look at our priorities. Now, this is not a once-off thing. We haven't mastered this thing of unhurry. I think it's a journey that we're always going to be on, because we live in this world, and I can't now just go and sit, in on a farm or in the bush somewhere where it's quiet. I need to make an impact. God has placed me in this world, but I need to make sure I don't adopt the values and be sucked into that rat race. And how do we do that as followers of Jesus? And hopefully through this devotion it might give you some ideas, and what might just open a can of worms for you, that you will realize I need to pay attention. I'm actually realizing that I've bought into this sick lie of success, and of what it means to be significant, and to be with it, and all of these things. So I made a few notes. I just want to kind of see what it is. Talking about the Transkei, I realized soon after that myself and many others in ministry, how we would answer if someone asked you, how are you doing? How's ministry? Many times the first answer would be, good, we're very busy. As if it's become like a, giving you bragging rights. And Eugene Peterson, actually, I'm going to read a little quote by him, the guy who wrote the Message translation. He said, I'm busy because I am vain. I want to appear important, significant. What better way than to be busy? The incredible hours, the crowded schedule, and the heavy demands of my time are proof to myself and to all who notice that I am important. If I go into a doctor's office and find there's no one waiting, and I see through a half-open door the doctor reading a book, I wonder if he's any good. Such experiences affect me. I live in a society in which crowded schedules and harassed conditions are evidence of importance. So I develop a crowded schedule and harassed conditions. When others notice, they acknowledge my significance, and my vanity is fed. Does that sound familiar to you? Because I realized when that was my answer, I'm busy, or when I realized that I'm becoming more and more irritable, unkind. I don't know about you, but if I'm in a hurry, I'm not very loving. I'm not very kind. I realized that when I became more and more impatient with people, that I need to look at myself. I need to look at my priorities. John Ortberg actually said a cool thing, and we just not John Mark Comer. It's two Johns, so don't get confused. But he actually says here. Let me just get it. All my worst moments are when I'm in a hurry. Is that true for you? Love, joy, and peace are incompatible with hurry. That's true for me. And so we live in this society of, there are some great statistics in here, but basically it says here, the average iPhone user touches his or her phone 2,617 times a day, and they say that's for millennials that's double the amount. And it also talks about, when last did you see someone just standing in line when they need to pay for their groceries and just standing there and they're not on their phone, or see someone in a coffee shop just sitting there drinking their coffee. They're on their phone. I know for us a huge thing is just the cell phone. And in this time of lockdown, I've heard people say, I'm the busiest than I've ever been during lockdown, because I'm working from home and there's no boundaries. I need to reply to emails when my boss asks me, and that's sad, because again we can blame it on many things, but a lot of this is just our own negligence of managing our time and being disciplined and being okay to say no. This phone. I've been joking with my team about this, but on WhatsApp, when you receive when you type a message, we all know the blue ticks. If someone read it, they receive the blue ticks. Well, there's even this sort of saying that you blue ticked me. In other words, if I sent you a message and you read it, but you didn't reply, you blue tick me. Why? What's up? Why don't you reply? And so, as amazing as this thing is, the fact that everything is on here, it's just terrible. So we really need to be disciplined to switch off our phones when we have family time. I made it clear to even some people and even the team that I might blue tick you because I want to think about what I'm going to say. Where were the days when they used the doves to deliver mail? I mean, sometimes I really wish for that time, but because everything is so instant, we're in a microwave culture where we want it, now, quick, heat up, 2-minute noodles, or the instant information. If you want something, I Google it. And so our whole society is built around faster, more, efficiency, boom, 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 move, and that is not compatible with the life of Jesus, of love, of relationships, kindness. And so getting to Jesus and the way he did it. Someone asked Dallas Willard, He's also a famous author. How would you describe Jesus? And it took a while, and then he said, relaxed. And yeah, what's the first word that you would say? Maybe loving, kind, and that's all true. It's just interesting that Dallas used the word relaxed. Maybe you will disagree with that. Maybe when you read the gospel, some of the miracles, you will say, no, he was busy serving. But I think that's the beauty of reading the gospels, is that when we read it together, and we, as I said, we're doing the chronological study of the life of Jesus, we get a different picture, because we tend to focus on one occasion, like one miracle or one teaching of Jesus, but we miss the method and Jesus' pace. And so, part of scripture that I want to read is Matthew 11, verse 28 to 30. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Doesn't that just sound amazing to you? Gentle. Jesus said, I'm gentle. He says, humble in heart. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. There's so much in these verses, and we can preach a whole series on this, of just the yoke. Just in their time in the first century, the Pharisees, they just inflicted the people with just religion, and how people really, really had to carry this burden. We can talk about just the burden of sin. When we read this, and I'm sure those that have done a study on it, the yoke that Jesus referred to here, we know what a yoke is. Oxen would carry it, and would be on their necks, and they would carry a load. But the yoke was also the picture or the idiom that was used by rabbis, that the yoke of the rabbi is the rabbi's teaching, his interpretation of the Torah, and really his way of life. So Jesus, we know, is a rabbi, and he got his followers, and if a followers follow a rabbi, it means they take the rabbi's yoke. It was the way they read the Torah, the way they lived their life, not just what they said, but everything. That's why the disciples spent time. They lived, they ate, they did everything with Jesus, because they were his apprentices. Apprentices, yeah. And so Jesus said, take my yoke and learn from me. And so a lot of it was the things that Jesus didn't say necessarily, the way he did it. And if we read, I've just been struck by how Jesus, he was the Son of God. He came for a mission, and if he was, if he fell to the values of our culture of hustle and hurry, he would have sorted it out, maybe as a boy, go to the cross, boom, get it done, move on. But he took time. He got to know people. Even when they said, Jesus, do this, do that. My time has not yet come. Don't tell people, because my time has not yet come. He was so in tune with his Father that he knew exactly what was needed to be done. He knew his priorities. Did it ever struck you that Jesus didn't fulfill every need? He didn't heal every person that he passed? But just this idea that he didn't fulfill every need. He said no. Sometimes, for example, in Mark 1 verse 33 to 38, Jesus was in the middle of a revival. He was preaching, was casting demons. This was in Capernaum. And very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. This is one of the big life-giving rhythms we see in the life of Jesus, how he would just disappear and he would take time to pray. Simon and his companions went to look for him, and when they found him, they exclaimed, "Everyone is looking for you." Jesus replied, and then Jesus said, "Let's go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also." So Jesus was in the middle of a revival. He's going away, he's praying, he comes back. The people were like, where were you? Everyone's waiting. There's this huge thing happening. And it's like, let's leave. We're done here. I can just imagine their responses, like, what? But Jesus knew his priority. He didn't fall victim to the expectations, the pressures around him. He was so in tune with his Father's will and the priorities. He knew exactly. I'm joined here by Kanya for the last few minutes. So, the yoke. Eugene Peterson, his translation of this verse says, "Are you tired? Are you worn out? Burned out on religion?" Just pause there. Ann Peterson commented, "Burnout isn't a place to visit and come back from. It's our permanent residence. What used to be an isolated experience of a New York trader or emergency room physician is now the reality for most people." Interesting how in the ministry field, it's also a thing of bragging rights. You haven't really been in ministry if you haven't reached a point of burnout. How sad is that? But I continue the message. Jy distract nou die mense. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. I have and still do sometimes take on the yoke of hurry, hustle, falling victim to our society, wanting to appear important, pleasing everyone. Kom sit by my, ons sal die laaste stukkie doen. But the sad ripple effect of that is that I won't get time for these ones. We've made a decision to switch off our phones when we're together as a family. I'm not going to be ashamed to tell people no, and that I'm taking a day off. I'm spending time with my family. And as Christians, I believe we need to be in this world, but not from this world. And so I've just been blessed by just the ancient rhythms, that Mark Comer talks about, that we see in the life of Jesus, of slowing down, Sabbath, really taking Sabbath, what it means, silence and solitude. I know many of you will cringe at that because you've had a lot of time in solitude, but simplicity. And simplicity is not just having a few things. It's things like minimalism, digital minimalism, knowing exactly what the priorities are and leaving the rest. What is the most important? Because I don't want to reach a day when I have realized, listen, I've tried to do everything. I've said yes to everything, but actually I've missed the most important things, what God is calling me to, people closest to me. And so I hope this blessed you. get a hold of this book. There's also a podcast, End Hustle, Kill Hustle, End Hurry, by Mark Comer and another guy that our team worked through. But mostly just watch the life of Jesus. Read not just what he said, but read the way he lived, the way he interacted, his pace. And you'll be, I think you'll be in for a surprise. So we love you, and God bless.